You're the guy people call when they need a helping hand, moving furniture, unloading a truck. But lately, your shoulder's been acting up, and you're the one who's calling for help. And that's the moment you realize you can no longer shoulder the load.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care with a range of surgical and non-surgical treatments. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 736, Biggest Mistakes Made in the Gym with Josh Garrett.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine. This is maybe only our second virtual recording we've done together, Josh, right?
I think it is.
So last year, 2020, when everybody's like, oh my God, what the hell's going on? I gave you a microphone to record at home, do a virtual podcast. And now you have COVID. So we get to do a virtual.
Now I have COVID. Yeah.
I mean, you made it almost 2 years without getting it. So I feel like that's success, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we're bound and determined to get something at some point, right?
Right.
So it's just a matter of time.
So how are you feeling? How's your quarantine going?
I mean, other than just being like congested and extremely tired, it's an interesting bug. It's like you kind of usually when you have something, you have the symptoms, and then they just they get worse, and then they kind of climax, and then you start getting better, and then. But with this, it's like you wake up every day, and it's just kind of like a different, like, what do we have in store for you today?
Yeah.
Like, we went from like being in my chest to being in my head to just super achy feeling to, but it's pretty mild. It's not anything crazy. It's just very lethargic. And that's the biggest thing and then just this beautiful sound that I'm going through my nose.
You sound all right to me. Not to say that, I mean, it just doesn't sound to me like you're super sick or anything like that. But I mean, lots of downtime then, right? Lots of time you've been watching a lot of like trash TV. You've been watching like, reruns of The Bachelor.
No, not reruns of The Bachelor, but yeah, a lot of, mainly just like clean, I mean, you just get like these things that, if I had time, I would get to that. So get into a lot of that stuff, just deep cleaning and end of the year stuff, getting the business things, numbers in order, and trying to get the accounting stuff locked in. So just trying to maximize it as much as I can, but at the same time, a lot of watching TV and resting and laying on the couch. So
yeah. Well, that kind of leads me into our topic, which is the biggest mistakes in the gym. And I would go ahead and say one of the biggest mistakes is still just showing up sick. Of like, oh, well, whatever, I'm feeling kind of sick. I'm going to go slam a workout today still. I feel like so many people do that they feel somehow more determined to work out while they're sick than when they are when they're healthy. Yes. And it's like you're just in there spreading germs and getting other people sick. And this is all, I feel like it's your body's cue to be like, yo, rest, lay around, watch some bad TV, clean, be loungy, be lazy. Your body needs this, not come in and hit the treadmill and lift heavy. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that we just ignore our body's warning signs so much that it's ridiculous. It's just like you said, like if you're feeling sick, that's not a time to hammer down. It's a time to rest and let your body start to repair itself. Drink plenty of fluids and, eat healthy foods and try to just give your body as much love as you can. That way it starts to get better as quick as possible.
Yeah. I've had multiple clients at the gym that have either had COVID or have just been sick because let's not forget people still just get sick.
Right.
That, we're texting back and forth and they're talking about how bad they feel about like missing sessions and not coming in. I'm like, don't feel bad. You're sick. Like stay
Right.
home, chill it out. Like don't come back and push it. Like let's wait till you're feeling completely rested before you come in here. We'll figure it out. Like it's not like I'm sitting there being like lazy ass, not coming to the gym. And so and I've been super guilty of that myself, of just being like, oh, it's just a cold. I don't want to miss my workout. And then having to have that conversation with myself of like, oh my God, this is counterproductive. This is stupid. So
yeah, I mean, it's good to like go out and take a walk, you know, like get the blood flowing kind of thing. But like just to go in and just go ham in the gym is just not ideal. It's just going to drive the cold deeper into your body.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to let your body start to recover.
Well, I feel like if you're at the point where you're snotting all over the place, you shouldn't be like touching gym equipment and leaving dirty tissues everywhere. Like,
exactly.
like that's gross.
Yeah.
So what's something on your list of mistakes made in the gym that you see? I
would say that one of the biggest ones is just like when people, they just gravitate to what they're strong at. And, we harp a lot on people that just go in and do cardio. And I agree that you shouldn't just go into the gym just to do cardio, but also you shouldn't just go into the gym to just do weights either. I think that a lot of people just gravitate to what their strengths are instead of cross training and doing the things that they're not good at, So if you're really strong and powerlifting is your thing, or lifting heavy is your thing, doing some stretching at the end or doing some cardio at the end of your workout is definitely going to be advantageous for you to create a overall just healthy physique. You know what I mean? Like, I think that these conversations get tricky because it is very goal specific. But if you're just general health, I think that a lot of people just gravitate towards the things that they're good at and they don't do the things that they're bad at. It's just human nature.
Yeah, and I think a conversation that's come up with us a bunch over the past month or two with some of the things that we're working on with the gym is especially runners. Of that and I used to just exclusively run, walk, hike. And it was like, I don't want to go lift weights and stuff on top of that, where it would have been beneficial for me. And I feel like my knees would be in a better spot if I would have done those things. But instead I just stuck to running, and then that was it. And I never did anything else. And it's just more of a detriment than help me out, where I didn't know at the time, like how that, I know some people are way more hardcore about running where they're worried about putting on muscle or changing their physique, and that might affect their running. But then I just think that's just the best example of people that are afraid to try something different, is if you're kind of stuck in that, like, I just like to run, and then that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that if you're very specific in what it is that you want to do in the gym, that's a different conversation than somebody that's just general, they're just going into the gym for general health purposes.
Yeah.
I think that leads into the next one, is just having no plan. Like when you go into the gym and you're just kind of aimlessly walking around, like there's no, all right, I'm going in to do my 5 to 10 minute warm up, and then I'm going to get my 20 to 30 minutes of strength training in, and then I'm going to get my 20 minutes of cardio in, and then I'm going to get the 10 to 15 minute cool down stretch, and then I'm out. There's a lot of people that just come into the gym and it's like, well, I'm here and now I'm going to do this machine, and I'm going to get on my phone and I'm going to text, and I can go over and talk to this person, and then I'll go back and I'll do this. And it's like, there's no structure to what it is that they're trying to do. I think that definitely hinders people from making progress in the gym.
Well, it's something that I did a lot of before I started training with you, and now I just do in a different way, is I had like one of those little workout journals. So I would kind of write out my own little program of what I wanted to do. I mean, I was doing bro splits, and that's what I really like to do, is just split it up for between 5-6 days a week. But I like had a mission of what I was doing when I went in there, and then kept track to see if I'm lifting heavier, if I'm changing my reps. And I just got these little pack of notebooks off of Amazon, and now I just use like the program stuff that we use at the gym. as a trainer to have those things for myself. But I thought that was incredibly helpful from me, from going from kind of more of those boot campish sort of classes, which is what I was doing before for like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, to figuring it out on my own, or going to like a Planet Fitness or the Y or anything like that, of just, if I didn't have my little notebook and I didn't know where I was going, I would do the same thing. And then you're at the mercy of other people using the machines, and you're just like, ugh, and you're kind of all over the place, and it just feels like you half-ass it, and you kind of walk out of there feeling like you didn't do anything. At least was my perception of not having that. And I'm obviously a big fan of having a plan. Otherwise, I wouldn't be such an intense meal prepper, which I've been for almost a decade. So I'm like, planning is like, I have hidden snacks everywhere just to have a plan in case I find myself without food. Like, I have, my car is full of like the little nut butters and packets of tuna and protein powder of just, you never, like, the plan is there in case a plan falls through. And I think that having any sort of plan in this health and fitness space of planning, of like, I need this time for like an affirmation session or meditation, or blocking out this time to figure out my nutrition or my exercise. I think that the planning part is huge on multiple levels.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just like you were saying, you know, also the mental part of it, you know, you're putting intention behind something, and you're putting effort and energy behind creating the plan. So you're going to have a little bit more, you know, gumption to see the plan through, rather than just going to the gym and, like you said, you're just kind of aimlessly walking around kind of thing. So
yeah. Well, speaking of mistakes, oh my God, I'm so excited to talk about this. Josh, when have you made the mistake of shaving your balls the wrong way?
This goes somewhere, people. This goes somewhere.
Oh my God. So I just want to tell the full story. So this is hashtag ad, by the way, but like, this is so much not a commercial for me, because I have found so much joy in being able to have this discussion about Manscaped on my podcast that, so, I mean, this is an ad, but I ask you not to skip through this, because the backstory is Manscaped reached out to me to talk about their trimmers, which are useful for women as well, not just for balls,
Right?
on my podcast. And I have not been this excited in a very long time. I think that anybody that has had this discussion with me, including clients at the gym, knows that I'm like, oh my God, guys, we are going to talk about shaving balls on my podcast. And I've never been more excited to work with Manscaped. And so they sent both me and you a package of all sorts of goodies, which is the lawnmower, which is for your no spots.
Oh.
And then they said the weed whacker, which is the nose trimmer.
Yeah.
And then there's boxers and a t-shirt. And then what I was also very excited about, which I need to know if you used, Josh, was the ball deodorant.
Oh yeah.
And the spray. And
I haven't used the spray yet.
No, but you used the deodorant?
I did.
What have you used ball deodorant before, Josh, before you used the Manscaped ball deodorant?
No, I mean, it just, you know, baby powder.
Okay.
The ball deodorant was way better than baby powder.
And I will say, I put it on my hands just because I wanted to smell it, and I'm like, I enjoy this. I enjoy the smell of the ball deodorant. You know, it's not something that I need to wear, but it's also something that I have to smell.
This is true. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the recipient of the.
It's a care package for me.
Exactly.
For
it just looks out for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So I do want to say this before I have another question for you, because multiple things. So you can save 20% off and free shipping when you use code POUNDTHIS at manscaped.com, which please do. If you want to hear more ball conversations, which I want more of, then please go buy those, because they're tracking that code. And so anyway,
I don't know that your listeners are going to be as excited as you are about this conversation.
If you've been looking for a great gift for a man or a woman in your life, manscaped.com, use code POUNDTHIS for 20% off. But it's funny because when I asked you, Josh. Like, would you do this with me? I'm like, I don't know if he's going to want to talk about shaving his balls on my podcast. And you're like, yeah, I'll do that. And I was like, dude, your clients are going to hear this conversation. Your employees are going to hear this conversation. Your family and friends are going to hear you talking about your balls. And you're like, that's cool. And I am very hyped about that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's 2020. It's what we do.
But
Take care of your stuff.
But you were telling me that you like shave your whole body though.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of hair.
Why? Like, so where do you think that stems from? I'm curious. Don't worry, we're going to get back to mistakes made in the gym. I'm very curious about Josh's body hair though. So like, why don't you want any like body hair at all? Like, do you like shave your armpits?
More like trimming.
Okay.
If not, I sweat like crazy.
Okay.
Like it's like a weird, I don't know.
You sweat when you have more hair in your armpits.
Yeah, and it just goes like everywhere, and it's like these huge pit stains. And then I found that if I trimmed the hair, it doesn't get that way.
So what else do you shave?
I mean, really everything. Like I shave my chest, face to a degree.
Did you try using
lower extremities that we're talking about right now?
Yeah, right. I'm going to say like anything else is fair game when we started the conversation with your ball.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you're not going to use Manscaped, the lawnmower on your face after you're shaving that, but like, did you try shaving like your chest and the other areas that you shave with the lawnmower from Manscaped, or did you just stick to the balls with the trowel?
Yeah, no, I started with my arms.
Okay.
Just, like see, how it felt. And, before you go downstairs, you want to make sure that you know what you're working with.
And it passed the test.
And it did.
And everything sailed smoothly. You were a fan.
Mean, kudos to Manscaped. Like the packaging that they sent the stuff in was just like remarkable. Like when I opened the box, it was like, oh, you felt prestigious getting this,
right?
This gift, right? It's like, oh man, this is well manufactured.
Right. Only the best for your balls, Josh.
Exactly. And then the newspaper that they sent, did you read that? That was
no. I didn't.
Yeah, there's like a newspaper that goes into it that has like some of the testimonials, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, nice. Well, I really liked about it. I appreciate it because I haven't had the opportunity to use this thing yet. Is that it has like a built-in like flashlight, so it's like when you turn it on, and plus it's like it just charges itself too. It's like in this nice little like charging little cubby that comes with it too, and so I'm like, oh man, this is like freaking legit. Like it's
very
super
ergonomical.
Nice.
It's very well designed. Good work. Kudos. I would highly recommend it if anybody has to shave their downstairs area.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, if you do that, please buy the gift at manscaped.com for yourself or for someone you love or someone's balls that you love. And save 20% off free shipping. Code #POUNDTHIS at manscaped.com. #ad. Amanda's very entertained. Oh my God. Anyway, mistakes at the gym.
All right, back to mistakes at the gym.
Shaving your balls at the gym's probably not okay. If you're
you're
like leaving hairs and stuff in the bathrooms at the gym, I'd say probably any sort of shaving at the gym, other than like in PS, you can take Manscaped into the shower as well, unless you're doing it in the shower. I think if you're got a leg propped up against the wall and you're going to town at the gym, probably not your best idea for yourself or the employees.
Not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. I would say that one big mistake from guys is they don't lift their legs. Like they just lift the upper body. You release a lot of testosterone when you get bigger muscles activated. So doing squats and deadlifts are going to be way more beneficial than doing, like a chest fly or a bicep curl.
So
then,
with that statement, I didn't realize that you're releasing more testosterone. So if you're working those larger, lower muscles, and do you, as a man, do you feel different? Like, do you feel like a different sort of like, I guess, hormonal rush, or feel like a different sort of like, I feel different hormonally when, I'm on my period than I do the rest of the month. I don't know if I'm equating this right. So it's like, do you feel like more like, I don't know, the emotions that you would get from more testosterone when you work your lower body more? Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of going to get that with compound lifts. Like it's just, you're using more muscles. So your body's going to exert more energy in order to lift that weight. It's not going to be like this huge rush of testosterone that you're getting. It's just, like a lot of people want like a bigger chest, and they think that they just need to go in and just hammer their chest as much as they can rather than going in and hitting their whole body. So that way they're releasing the testosterone from the bigger muscles to then help facilitate getting a bigger chest. It's just, it doesn't, but it's not like this huge, like rush of testosterone that you're going to get that after you get done lifting legs, you're like, oh,
you just bust through the wall like the Kool-Aid man.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not quite that.
So is that true of females then too? Do you get a more of a testosterone boost, or is that just male specific?
It's mainly just, in general, you're going to get more release of all hormones with women and men. And I'm talking outside of my scope here.
Yeah.
But I just see more guys when they go into the gym that they gravitate towards just doing upper body stuff and they don't lift their legs because, lifting legs is, you can just lift a lot more and it's a lot more painful and you break muscle tissue down and it takes longer to recover and you just feel heavier and it's like, ugh.
Well,
a lot of guys don't like that.
Well, I will say that I'm very guilty of that, and I'm not a male because of lower body injuries, and all of like everything in my body that's jacked up is in my lower body, where I have valgus and like knock-kneed. I was pigeon-toed when I was a kid and had to wear special shoes, so I still have like feet issues. I have hip issues. I have pelvis issues. I have all this like jacked up stuff, and I've injured myself a lot with like my hips. I think my hips is what translates into my lower back and the sciatic stuff. I think that's stemming from hips and knees and ankle mobility. And because of those things, and I know that when I do more of those lower body things, like thinking a lot of running, or just like now it's lunges are extremely scary for me, any lateral movements, because that's how I've hurt myself the most, that I have spent a large amount of time avoiding lower body exercises other than like walking. And I'm only just now reintroducing those with the help with Nick at the gym of like having somebody that was guiding me and helping me of like, I'm too scared to do this. What are the best things that I can do? I'm like, I don't want to keep avoiding just only working upper body because I like it. I can feel it. I'm more in tune to my own body with feeling my upper body. My lower body, I will tune out on. And I just like can't feel my ass unless I do specific things to like try to like tune into my own body and feel that. And so I think that's, where you're just talking about dudes are like, skipping leg day, bro. But this is a real example of me avoiding that and how I know that's not serving me, and it'll make me stronger to make those muscles stronger in my legs, even though I don't find lower body exercises very pleasant. As long as I'm doing them without pain, I feel like that's a top priority, is to focus on the thing that I've been lacking on to kind of get that whole body sort of, effect. I don't know if that's a word I'm looking for, but it's like I can't just keep lifting arms and chest and back and avoiding doing squats because I'm afraid of hurting myself. I just have to find a better way to do it.
Yeah, when you have an injury, that's a whole different conversation, I'm talking about the guys that are just going into the gym and it's like, Monday's National Chest Day, Tuesday's back day, Wednesday, I might not get into the gym, Thursday, happy hour, Friday we go in, we hit some arms, and then we call it a wrap for the week. That's the typical split that you saw in the gym. I think that, and that leads me to my next point, is just not training too much of one body part. It's like when I was growing up and getting into this, it was like muscle and fitness was the resource, right? We didn't have social media. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have Instagram. It was just, you went to the magazines to find articles, and the articles were from the elite level bodybuilders, and then they would put their routine in there, right? So then you have this 16-year-old that's reading Muscle and Fitness that's now thinking that, okay, I need to go in and I need to do 4 exercises with my chest and 5 sets on each of these exercises, and that's what I was doing, and that's ridiculous. Like you should, there's a reason that those guys are as elite as they are, so I think that when people go in and they just like hammer one body part out as much as they can, and it's, there's a lot of damage that you're causing to that, whereas like you could get by with more benefit from doing like a 3-day routine where you're hitting full body. So
I want to add to the list, I think a mistake that people make, and I'm including myself in this, of just not, I guess, kind of the mindset of going into the gym and not seeing it as like you time or a benefit to you, that you just kind of come in and check the box that you showed up and half-ass it. I think that the only person you're cheating out of that is yourself. Like, I think that's awesome that you showed up, because there's a lot of times where you're just like, whatever, screw it. And you find a way not to show up. So showing up is huge. But I think that when you show up, if we're like, okay, if being in the mind of, this is my time, this is me taking care of myself, this is me, moving my body, and not to think of it as a way of like, I am going to grow my chest and aesthetic. I mean, you can have those things, or I'm going to lose weight or whatever. But I think to just be like, I have 45 minutes, and how do I show up for myself in this time, rather than like, ugh, and you just like blow it off, show up, walk on the elliptical a little bit, meander around on your phone and dink off, and then check in online to show that you were at the gym, take some pictures and of your booty shot and put it on Instagram. I think that so many people fall into that trap, and then it's like, but I don't know, it just feels like cheating yourself. And I'll have my set conversation with myself, like doing sets of things, and I'm on the last one where I'm like, oh, man, I could just skip this one, or I could just do a couple less of these, and I'm like, For what? Like, to get out of here, 4 minutes faster? Like, then what is that doing? Like, this is, for me, like, I'm only cheating myself. And I think that's a hard headspace to stay in. But I think that that's a mistake if you're just coming in there and dinking off every single time you come into the gym, and then you're pissed off that you don't have any results, or you feel like you're wasting your money and your time, then that's the mistake.
Well, I think that's the amazing thing about lifting. That's the thing that I love about fitness, is it's you versus you. You're the catalyst. You're the one that makes it or breaks it. It's your choices. It's not a whole lot of other people. You make it to the gym, and you get to decide what you're going to do within the time that you're in the gym. And if you want to cheat yourself, cheat yourself. You're the only one that's going to benefit or not benefit from it. So. Yeah.
Well, and I just see that a lot with an issue we've been having, which, I mean, this is my first time being a personal trainer in the holiday season, because I didn't really start until January of this year. Of seeing how many people just kind of like bail on their appointments, which I totally get, of like, it's holiday season, we're getting checked out, and it's like the gym, working out kind of hits the bottom of the list. But it's one of those things where it's like, I understand it, but I also kind of want to tell some of those people that are habitually, I guess, just kind of bailing on, I can't come in today, or whatever excuse is made up, that, you're only hurting yourself here. You know what I mean? You're making up elaborate, some of these things are like what people would say to like get out of work or get out of school, where you're just kind of like, that was an intense story that happened to you 3 times in 1 week. Just be like, you're not hurting me. You're bailing on you, and that's the bummer. At least from my perspective, of just kind of like, I just don't think people see it that way, and that's one of those things I just kind of, not to like shame anybody or to make anybody feel bad about those choices, but to just realize that's just, you're just denying you that thing of and it's. I mean, in this whole thing of self-care and take care of yourself, and, we'll put on your oxygen mask first sort of thing, the way that we should be living life. And then we still constantly just throw ourselves on the back burner and half-ass things. And I don't know where I'm going with that thought.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're definitely our own worst enemies. I mean, we create these stories and they are legitimate, I mean, things do come up.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if things are coming up 2-3 times a month, then you need to reevaluate where your priorities are. If your priorities are somewhere else, then the objectives that you're trying to hit in the gym probably aren't going to be obtained because you're not putting time, effort, and energy into it. It's just like anything in life. If you just kind of, I'm just going to dabble with this, or I'm just going to try this a little bit, you're not going to make as much progress as if you jump 2 feet in and, figure it out.
Yeah. So what are some other mistakes that you see, or is that the end of your list?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. No focus. That was the last one that I had, was just, and I mean, that you just hit the nail on the head with that one. So, I mean, I think that there's so many people that go into the gym and there's no rhyme or reason to it. They're just kind of going in and they're just, oh, well, I'm going to play around with this or play around with that or see what this does. And I mean, I get that there's a learning curve to this stuff, and if you're just getting into the gym, that's a different conversation than if you've been there for, 2-3 months and you just don't have any sort of plan as to why you're doing what it is that you're doing. Doing like isolation movements before you're doing compound movements, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think that so much of that does vary of where you're at in your own story. For some people, it could have been like, I'm so intimidated to walk foot into any gym. That is just showing up. Like, you're showing up and maybe you don't have a plan other than to just like walk on the treadmill or hit the elliptical to get yourself into the pattern of going into the gym and making that part of a routine. Then that's freaking awesome. And so it's like, you don't have to pressure yourself to figure out more. But if you're doing that and then you're just like, okay, if you have other goals beyond that, as a time, I think that you have to like either push yourself or ask somebody to help you figure stuff out too. And I think that's a frustrating point that I have found personally before, speaking about like box gyms, of going in and not knowing what the hell I'm doing, what these machines are, what am I supposed to do, anything. And then asking, if you ask for help by, again, in my personal experience in the places I've been to that were big box gyms, like the people there weren't even really helpful either. Like the people that they're like, you get that free half-hour session with, like, didn't really help me at all. Like the only time that it was really helpful was whenever I started going to the Y, and I asked my friend Zeb, because he was a personal trainer and he'd been on this podcast a bunch of times, like, can you go to the Y with me and spend like an afternoon with me and show me everything and let me ask a million questions, watch me do things, and just help me figure this out so I don't walk in here being like, what the hell am I doing? But I had to like pull from an outside source, but I still like made that work so I could feel comfortable going into the Y and knowing how to work around that specific equipment. And nothing against the Y, but because before at other gyms I've been to, asking the staff, they're like, I don't know. Like, okay, well, now I don't even want to come here at all. So I think that's, the mistake, I guess, is to constantly stay in a place where you feel confused or uncomfortable without reaching out. Where again, like me, if you're listening to this podcast, me and Josh are a resource. You can email us so we can help, just having somebody that you can ask a question to, because, it's not a stupid question. And it sucks that sometimes gyms can be a place where people treat you like your questions are stupid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because just like you said, like they don't know the answer to it. So then they just put it back on you and make you feel dumb. That's just, that's not health and fitness. That's not fun.
Yeah. So I think it all just kind of also depends on where you're at, and then also just having that level of self-awareness of where you want to go. And again, I like to having the plan of like, well, what are my goals and what are my limitations? And I've been doing this and I'm hitting a roadblock. Do you make the choice of giving up, or do you keep the choice of just keep on doing what you're doing? Or do you make the choice of trying to change it? And if you don't know how to change it, making the choice of reaching out and asking someone or hiring someone or whatever that is to move there. So it's just, I guess a mistake would be that too, in my opinion, of just kind of giving up rather than exploring your options. Because obviously you started for a reason. There was a reason why you wanted to go to the gym. There's a reason why you want to move your body in certain ways. So then don't give up as easily if it's not coming to you as fast as possible, because It takes for freaking ever.
Yes. It's a marathon. It is definitely not a sprint.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Well, thank you for recording with me, even though you're sick.
Yeah, no problem.
Hopefully you feel better soon. And when do you have to take like your next test to see if you're negative?
I'm gonna wait till these symptoms go away. I mean, you can kind of like I felt when I had the symptoms, it was like, okay, this is very weird. So I think I'm a pretty good gauge on my body, and wait till the symptoms go away and then test. And I think you need to test twice before you go back into the general population.
Yeah. So, the honest answer. So when you're sick, like you are now, you don't feel good. Like you're not like on your deathbed. Like, do you like make healthy food choices, or are you like, whatever, I'm like eating Chinese food, I'm ordering pizza, like making, like eating like sort of comfort food? Or do you...
Yeah, no, I'm actually a weirdo. Like I throw every healthy thing I can at it.
Nice.
I like flip. Like if I'm feeling fine, then I will have more cheat meals. But when I feel bad, it's like, I mean, I'm cutting up lemons, putting them in my water, vitamin D, zinc. Let's see what else.
Like, what have you been eating while you've been sick?
Blueberries, bananas, strawberries. I make a bunch of smoothies. Just because you don't really feel like eating a whole lot of things.
Man, that's so much better than me. I feel like eating like trash when I'm sick.
Yeah, I mean, ordering a pizza definitely sounds better than cooking salmon.
Yeah.
But, I just try to like give my body what it needs at that point in time. And
so
it's usually when my body's feeling good that I just throw trash at it.
So
which is probably what leads to this.
Yeah, maybe. So then I know how much you like to like fidget around and exercise like constantly, like even in where you like in your own apartment. Like, are you doing any of that? Or are you doing like full body rest?
Yeah, no, I'll play around on the Swiss ball a little bit, but mainly is like with this congestion, if I'm laying on my back, it makes the room kind of spin. Yeah. So there's not really a whole lot of stuff that I can do with that. So I've been just pretty much resting.
Well, I guess it's good too that for timing reasons, that you're going to be out of quarantine by the time like Christmas is here. So you could still like hang out with family instead of having COVID over the holidays and have to sit home alone.
Yeah. That's the benefit.
Yeah.
Should be good to go by then. So.
All right. Cool. Well, have fun drinking your smoothies and eating your salmon and playing around on your Swiss ball. And thank you for recording this podcast and discussing your balls with me.
Yep, no problem. See ya.
Bye.
AmandaValentineBites.com